What's cracking, me gente? This your boy D again, coming to you guys ready to share some love and a little bit of knowledge. Today, I'm gonna share this story with you guys about one of the historic MS13 leaders that just got found dead a couple weeks ago in Zacatecolucas and Salvador, what is known as Trece, one of the most maximum securest prison in which President Bukele still ignores the fact that there's still killings happening, whether it's inside the prison system or outside. But we will get into the details right now. I hope you guys like this video. Hope you can subscribe. You guys can hit the like. Hope you guys share it. And most important than anything at all, leave a comment. If you want to hear more content like this, let me know. Your boy got you. With that being said, let's get into this topic, man. Let's not waste no time. As I have mentioned before on the other video that I did regarding Shorty from MS, one of the leader that was going against Diablito and his 12 disciples, due to the transition that the Salvador MS13 Foundation was going on, a lot of older leaders like Shorty, Teclas from Trece, the Teclas, and different members, which names that you might not have heard of before, would now show up on this story. Some of them leaders didn't believe in what Diablito was doing. They were against on the whole selling out the hood of profits, making deals with the government, doing everything that the MS didn't stand for. A lot of the older homeboys, the older leaders, believe on what we always used to call the historic mantra, which it was called El barrio no se vende ni se regala. So the hood doesn't sell out and doesn't also give in. It doesn't surrender. So that's an old mantra that the homeboys that were guerrilleros from the FMLN party used to use. And they took it too hard. There was a lot of, that mantra was one of the deadliest mantras that the MS homeboys used when the war kicked off, when everything transpired, and when the FMLN became a political party, because they believed themselves to become the righteous for the people, the left wing, and the party for the people. Just like a lot of homeboys believe that whatever Diablito was doing and his sub-commanders were not up to the standards of the homeboys. They were not up to the hood standards. They were not up to what MS used to stand for. So, of course, they didn't like it. None of them agree. None of them appreciate what he was doing. None of them respect the fact that he was selling out for profits and money, which there was a lot of money involved. I gave you guys the numbers in the last video with Shorty. So today we're going to talk about one of the historic leaders that was the homeboy El Trece. They used to call him the 13. And the 13, the homeboy Trece was well known around Teclas, Santa Teclas. That's a city in El Salvador. And San Salvador is one of the, it's not a big city, it's a small city, but it was deadly known, and it was known for the violence that it endured when it was going on over there. Santa Teclas became a MS stronghold right after they took over 18th Street and they run them off. And I say this not us a disrespect to their homies, to the dudes from 18 or nothing. This not to take any shots at nobody. We're just providing the facts. It was at some point of time a stronghold for the 18, and then they lost it and MS took over. So they became Teclas. The homie Trece was well known for being around Teclas, Santa Teclas. He was a known leader in the penitentiaries when the split was going to take over. He was backing up Shorty. He was one of the famous leaders that was backing up Shorty. That was all within his right as a head homeboy to back up whatever he wanted to. And plus, when Shorty approached him, of course he was in agreement. He didn't like what the homeboys were doing, selling out the hood for profits, making money and all that stuff. So they decided to do something different. And when I say they had to do something different, I mean they decided to get something back in the deck together with the older homeboys that will still have the mentality to get it done and accomplish. They still had the power, the people, and they decided to give it a shot. So Shorty reached out to the people that he thought felt the same way as him, or the people he know felt the same way as him. And Trece happened to be one of them. Now, Trece was already locked up for doing time, behind a couple things. He was serving an 80-year prison sentence that was passed down to him on June 12th, for being found guilty of two homicide, one which basically involved a former agent of the Nacional, a cop basically. He killed a cop. He was convicted of killing a cop, and he was convicted of another murder. So he was serving 80 years. In El Salvador, for the people who don't know, usually they don't sentence people to life sentences, to 20 years, 30 years. They usually sentence people like 40 years, 50 years, 90 years, 150 years. The sentence over there is a little crazy. So he was serving already basically a double life sentence when Shorty approached him and basically gave him a little heads up what he was planning on doing, what his agenda was, what he wanted to do regarding the neighborhood, what he didn't like about what Diablito was doing. When Shorty approached him, Trece felt like, oh, maybe we could do something. Maybe there's a lot of stuff that we could do something. But just to give you a little context of his background and who he was, in 2019, and I will give you his name so you guys can know. His name is Saúl Antonio Turso Angel, also known as El Trece de Teclas, okay? So, like I was saying, he was incarcerated in Zacatecolucas, a prison which was deemed the name of Zacatras because it was one of the biggest, most maximum security prison back then and everything. So he was one of the 373 gang members that got convicted in a trial in the case known as Operation Cuscatlan, along with Elmer Canales Rivera, another leader released by the government of Nayib Bukele. You guys know who Elmer Canales Rivera is, which is Crook, the one of the first person they got supposedly released an accident, right? So, in 2021, the United States Department of Justice presented an indictment against Turcio Angel and 13 of the MS leaders before New York court, considering the board of directors of organization, which meant there were the United States of America was deeming them, Turcio, Diablito, Shorty, Crook, Snyder. There was a lot of them. They were deeming them basically the face of the Ranfla Nacional, or the leadership of the national Ranfla, National Guard for MS13. He was in the indictment, and the United States government was asking for him to be extradited to the United States so he could face charges in the New York court over here for this leaders charges that they were trying to pinch him against him and a couple his other homeboys, right? Of course, El Salvador, as you guys know, denied that extradition, and he began serving his 80-year sentence. He was in Zacatras, where Shorty was also killed, when this whole, what we call it, cahoot and overthrowing of the Mara government started, when the whole stuff started. So basically, he was when all this stuff took place between him and Shorty, he was incarcerated there. So I give you guys a little bit of his history regarding how he became to be one of the most known leaders of MS13, and how he became to be known as the Trece from there. He was, like I said, he was one of the 13 Nacionales, and he was known for his savage surety. He was savage when it came down to crimes. He basically rose the ranks like any other kid from El Salvador that wanted to become somebody that didn't have nothing, no background or nothing, that didn't have the means to go to school. And he began his whole career starting being a MS13 gang member, somebody that was just savage with it, okay? That's what his whole background is. But he knew that after Shorty killing, he was going to be the next target, that they were going to target him. He knew that the government in El Salvador knew that. The prison government, the administration also knew that. So Once word got back to him, because to a guy, they intercepted a guy, if I'm not mistaken, they intercepted a guy with his name written on it saying that he was supposed to go. So the administration decided to move him to isolation, to Trece or to the hole, due to his security. Even though he protested, he was like, I'm okay. I can go back with my homeboys. I don't have no issue with it. You guys are tripping. Like you guys know, when a real soldier don't want to go down as the history, and the history is as known as what these life gang members think is pussy moves or PC moves, he was asking the administration, hey, send me back, man. I don't want to be here in the hole. Of course, being in the hole also in stopping for getting visit, from communicating with his people, even though in El Salvador there was not too much of visitings and letters and all that stuff that was going on due to Najib Bukele putting the regime that he came under fire when he started the hunting for the gang members, right? But when he got put in isolation, he kept telling the administration, send me back, I don't have no problems. Man, I could go back. They decided not to do it. They decided to keep him there. Somehow, some way, he finally convinced the administration to send him back to the mainland, to the penitentiary mainland, right? So he returned to Sector 6. And he was involved with different other leaders. He was there with different other leaders. And he thought everything was okay. He thought that nothing was wrong with him. That everything was smooth. Nothing transpired in the first day or so. Everything was going on. And here comes the surprise. About a week later. So a week later, basically what transpired is during morning count, the officer that was doing morning count noticed that he never came out of his cell. Didn't leave this cell. Like I say, he was in Sector 6 of the maximum security prison. He had just returned from isolation for several months that he had spent over there because supposedly historical leaders wanted to kill him. He had been isolated in the security Zacatecoluca for about 6 months, according to investigators linked to the extradition case facing the influential gang leader. The separation was motivated because some of the members of the Rifle Nacional of MS13, all in prison Zacatecoluca, wanted to kill him. That's how they said it. The public record was saying basically, we don't want to let this guy back into it because they're going to kill him, because we got war, we intercepted a guy, and we have letters, and we have warfare in our rats, basically. You know how the government works. They have people informing that they were going to kill him as soon as he go back. That was... Diablito already signed his sentence, even though a lot of people are going to be like, oh, how you know it was Diablito? Before he got transferred, they intercepted a couple calls that got publicized down the road, down later in the article in the Prensa Gráfica of El Salvador, when they said that Diablito basically told everybody that was supporting Shorty and everybody that was involved with him, if you guys don't fall back in line, eventually you guys are going to be faced with a decision, and you guys are going to be faced with another hard choice to make, either to piece it up or basically get killed if you guys don't stop listening to this guy, where he deemed Shorty as a PC, the 503 program, which was a PC program as he called it, right? Like I said, he was there for killing a cop, so the cops, I don't think they have much love for him. That's just my personal opinion. When you're there for killing a former national civil officer, which is over there, it's called Policía Nacional Civil, PNS, okay, National Police, Civil National Police, right? They didn't have much love for him, so they didn't really care. And like I said, while he was incarcerated, on top of that, he had got 60 more years for 2 other murder cases that have been pending on him. So on top of the 80 years, he already had 60 years more on top of that. So that made her 140 years to serve, which is just a life. Like I said, just another life. And the reason why the United States wanted him, because they were charging him with providing support to terrorists, providing acts of terrorism outside the United States, and conspiracy to financial terrorists and narco-terrorists from El Salvador to Mexico and U.S. territory. That was with the help of the government. And El Salvador was also exploring, let's say, saying basically, let's see if we send them what can happen, what the New York people want to do, this, but they never did. So on Friday, August the 30th, the day Turcio was allegedly murdered, and this is what is being said on the news in El Salvador. It's being said allegedly, and I will tell you why it's so funny that they even had the nerve to put allegedly on it, because when they found his body, they found traces of wounds that were consistent with stabbing wounds, which is crazy. He died with stabbing. He got stabbed up and he died due to that cause because he got holes put in him. But the people still want the people or the government still want to make it seem like, oh, we don't know the reason why he got killed, how he got killed. But here's the thing, and they gave basically the people just a little bit of details of the murder. They didn't want to expose too much because they know eventually people are going to start asking questions. Oh, what happened to the security Bukele said that was never going to happen? They know the murder was not going to take inside prison. How come he's dying over there in Zacatras, even though that's not now considered the most secure prison because he got the other prison where he got everybody locked up. Zacatras became the second most high maximum security prison, right? But it's still a high security prison. The way it was built, everything, it was built in order to stop crimes like this from happening. Plus, the technology they incorporated in this prison is freaking something else, man. It's not like the other prisons, like the older prisons in the older fashion where they had it. They had cameras now, they had CCTV, they had all that stuff. So during morning count time, they noticed that he didn't leave the cell. So what does the CO, the guard, or the tier officer does? He goes and look in to figure out why is this dude haven't come out of his cell. So they found him inside in the cell, motionless, not responsive. So they instantly pressed the alarm, and the medical staff was alerted. When they got there to the cell of Trece, they found him literally gone. He was dead. He had been dead. They don't know if he got stabbed in the morning. That's why they say allegedly he got killed on the 30th. Because they don't know if he got stabbed that morning or that night. But in morning count time, they didn't see him leave. They didn't see him leave his cell. So what they did was, that's why they say allegedly on Friday, the day of the murder, this transpired. They found him with stabbing wounds. And here what is coming. So, like I said, the press, the newspaper trying to obtain more details regarding the incident from Osirios Luna Mesa, the director of the penitentiaries over there, but they haven't got no response yet because you guys know why. He's linked on the investigation that he was corrupt. That's one. Two, he's Bukele's go-to-go buddy for the security strategies inside prison and outside. So imagine how stupid he would have felt right now that they found a body inside of his prison, stabbed. Literally, stabbed. And here goes what it killed me, right? That he said that they don't know the cause of death. The first reporter said they didn't know the cause of death because that was still under investigation, which I understand they sometimes give you the runaround when the case is still being investigated. So they tell you, oh, we don't know yet how it was or what it do, what it that, right? Because they don't want to compromise the investigation, right? But here's what like literally kills me. In the newspaper it says they found what appears to be, they found the MS historic leader was found with wounds apparently made with a sharp object on August 30. And the wounds have the characteristic of a stabbing, said one of the cited sources. So somebody said it was during the morning count time. Ms. noticed that the gang leader did not leave the cell at Sector 5, which he had recently returned to since, according to him, he was isolated for several months. Then when they walk in there, they found him with what appears to be wounds with a sharp object. Meaning, they didn't find the pieces though. They didn't find the fierros, they didn't find the machetes, they didn't find whatever that they used for old boy. But but they did found wounds, stabbing wounds, which was consistent with a stabbing. So now, here we have one of the most notorious gang leaders being found dead in his cell with stabbing wounds right a couple years after Shorty got killed. And they knew they had isolated him for a reason, because they knew he was going to get killed. They knew what was transpired. They knew there was a power struggle going on between Diablito, his 12 disciples, and some of the older members from MS. They knew that. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that since MS13 503 program began and got started up, and Shorty put that in people's heads, they knew that somehow, some way, people were still going to try to do whatever they had to do to get on top of it, to the people that they respected or went against the grain with Diablito. Everybody knew that. They knew that. We knew that. So it was just a matter of time. Like I told you in the last video of Short, if you guys go look at it, he's not going to be the first homeboy that's going to get killed behind this thing, and he won't be the last. And here we have, almost a year and some change later, another well-known figure of the MS13 old guard, what we call the Vieja Guardia, now dead, found on his cell with stab wounds. Of course, they won't blame Diablito flat out, but who you think else has the power and the authority to get a shot and the call make done that way? Yeah, Diablito might not be on the penitentiary, but it was well known that once you get on that fool's list, that he wants you gone, it doesn't matter 1 month, 2 months, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years pass. Unless they get word back somehow, some way, that Diablito had now came to an agreement with them and had took him off the list, no matter how long and how many years can pass, it can be 10 years from now, 15, 20 years from now. It doesn't matter. When they catch up to it, they will do what they have to do in order for them not to get deemed. So there was other leaders there that were on Diablito's good grace, that they know they needed to take care of that issue, because if not, if war spread out, the dude had hit the tier, hit the sectors, hit the yard, whatever you guys want to call it, while they were there sitting there, they knew that 9 times out of 10 it was a possibility that their victims were going to become them. So what they decide to do? They decide to say, hey, better his mother to cry than mine, which is a messed up thing to say and to do. But hey, that's what happens. That's what transpired. That's what people do. And it got done. A year or some change later, after the homeboy, I think it's been more than a year, if I'm not mistaken. It's been more than a year. Now, and some time have passed. We know it's some time have passed. Now we have another influential leader gone. All thanks to the new politics that now have been hammering these gangs. And I've been telling you guys, it doesn't matter what you've done before. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter how many years you've done it for, how many times you continue to do it. These people in this new gang and these new rules will qualify you once they use you, abuse you, and they discard you. They don't find no purpose for you. They will do exactly what the MS is doing. Discard you, abuse you, use you, and when you're no longer used to them or you represent a threat to them, they will take you out. They're going to take you out. Like I said, it might take a month, it might take 2 months, it might take a year, or it might take 2 years. But eventually they're going to catch up. And one thing about MS13 is that we know, and I can speak to the facts of this, due to me being a long time ago part of the organization, is that MS gang members has a long memory. They do not forget easily. And especially if you make a mockery out of the leaders or a mockery out of them or their program, they will catch up. So here's the results of later on. Trece decided to go against the grain and go against Diablito, his disciple. And look at what happened. Is it fair? I don't think so. I don't think nobody deserves to die. I think that, and I highly believe, and I will say this with all with all my heart open-minded. I believe Diablito is just like another Mexican Mafia member that takes the power that he had and the influence that he represents in our country, in a small country, with a lot of members willing to do his bidding, and he's taking advantage of it. And we're seeing the consequence now. These gang members are killing each other left and right, and they will continue to do so. And there's only going to be one king at the end of the day standing. And who you guys think that's going to be? You guys guessed it right. Diablito, his 12 disciples. Whoever is loyal to him, he will be loyal to them until he don't find no more use for them. And he will do exactly what he been doing to the other homeboys that rebel against him. He will discard him and get him here. And that's something I can guarantee you. Once he find no more use for them, he's going to do exactly what he did to Shorty, exactly what he did to Trece, and exactly what he's going to continue to do to the people that rebel against him. And he's going to have him whacked, he's going to have him killed, because he got the same tendency as what a matter will do if they disagree with their assessment, with their politics, or what they're doing. With that being said, man, that's why I tell you guys, I'd rather be in a square and living a square life than being a gangster and living a dead life. Because that life would not bring you nothing good, nothing favorable. With that being said, man, I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I told you guys, I'm working. I'm in the middle of another job right now. And so I'm doing a little bit of work while recording this video. And that's why I'm doing the voice recording. But I wanted to put some content out there for you guys. I hope you guys like it. If you do, make sure you like, subscribe, share with your aunties, tíos, tías, and madrinas, comadres, and compadres. And make sure you guys leave a comment for your boy. With that being said, be kind to one another. Remember to tell your loved ones that you love it, because tomorrow's never a promise. With that said, let's get it, mi gente.